How's it going, guys? This is Scott from Code for Performance, out in the shop working on my 300 KTM. It's a 2021 model, and it is the TPi bike. What I've started to do today was just a routine service, change the gear oil, clean the air filter, getting ready to go on another ride. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to check something that I discovered on a customer's bike not too long ago that he brought to me because it was leaking two-stroke oil all over the back of the engine case, and then of course onto the garage floor, making quite a mess. But what I discovered on that bike is this piece right up in here that attaches to the back of the oil pump, and then of course goes up to the bottom of the oil tank. KTM refers to it as the oil tank angle piece. It's basically just a rubber 90-degree boot, or a hose nipple, if you will. And on his bike, it was deteriorated and cracked, and that's where the leak was coming from. And although mine's not leaking, I have inspected it and it's starting to show some signs of deterioration. So I'm going to get ahead of it with some preventative maintenance and go ahead and change that. It's not overly difficult. If you've got some basic hand tools, and I recommend downloading a service manual. It does give some pretty detailed instructions on how to remove that off the oil tank. And of course you need to reprime your oil pump once you put it all back together. But anyway, I've got this bike pretty much ready to take that piece off and drain the oil out of the tank. But preparatory work, you do need to remove the tank and the seat so you can raise the subframe into that position, and that's so you can get the throttle body out of there. You need to take the silencer off to raise the subframe. I have gone ahead and taken the pipe off of this and the engine stays from each side, mostly for the purposes of filming, but it does allow for easier access to get up in there. It's kind of a tight fit. Once you get the subframe up and then the throttle body off, you can leave the cables attached, leave the throttle position sensor plugged in, and you can just lay that off to the side. You'll want to unplug your connector off the oil pump, which is right here. And then go back around to this side. Over on this side, right up here, there is a bolt holding the oil pump. I've already loosened that up. Just gonna finish taking it off by hand. Take that off. And that will allow you to slide the oil pump out of this nipple right here. And then of course down in here I've placed a suitable container. This just happens to be a ratio right that I've cleaned it out good, because I plan on saving the two-stroke oil because I had just filled the tank not too long ago. So I'm going to get to that point. I'm going to start the oil draining and show you the next step. Hang on. Okay guys, got the oil drained out of it, and I went ahead off camera and taken a small flat blade screwdriver, and you've got to spread open the clamp ear on this stepless clamp or audiker clamp, whatever you want to call it. And it's a one-time use clamp, so you need to make sure you get a new one of those when you're ordering your parts. Anyway, once you get that clamp off of there, you can just go ahead and pull the boot off. We'll look at that on the bench in a minute. And then up inside the bottom of the oil tank is the oil screen, and it's important. KTM recommends every so many hours you should clean this, inspect it. Sorry guys, I'm doing this one-handed. Just pull that out, go over to the bench and take a look at these parts. Oil screen's not that dirty. You can replace it. I think they're like $8 or $10, or just take some contact cleaner, clean it real good, blow it off, let it dry, reinstall that before you put your new angle piece back on, or the rubber nipple. One thing I have noticed is this rubber is leaving quite a bit of a black mess on my hands. It's just starting to deteriorate. does have some little bit of cracking right there where it slides over the oil pump nipple. Let me show you the one that I took off of the customer's bike not too long ago and show you just how bad that one is. Get the camera to focus here. Get over. There it is. You'll see right there by my index finger, that's where his was leaking. Anyway, that's what the piece looks like. You'll need to get a new one of these, a new clamp for the bottom of the tank. Probably wouldn't hurt to get a new clamp that goes over this end that slides onto the pump nipple, and of course clean your oil screen. So I'm going to get everything cleaned up and we'll come back to the reassembly. Okay guys, for reference, here's the part numbers. Here's the smaller clamp that goes on this part of the nipple. There's the part number for the actual angle piece, and that's what they call it, angle piece oil tank. And here's the part number for the Audiker clamp that goes around this large part. So let's go ahead and go back over to the bike. The first thing you want to do is make sure, I already put the oil screen back up in there. Slide your boot on there. Oh, I almost forgot. I gotta take it back off. I've got to put the smaller clamp on here first. Okay. I had to install that clamp. Oil screen, slide your boot back up on there. Get it somewhat oriented straight ahead on the bike. And then you can go ahead and slide over your clamp. Just leave it hanging there for now. And now we can put our oil pump back in. It's difficult to do with one hand. Well, I just pulled the whole thing off. Reinstall, bolt that holds the oil pump to the bottom of the sensor carrier. And I might need another set of hands to do this. Tighten that up in just a second. Just making sure that boot's on there. Okay, that part's done. Now we need to crimp the clamp. And this is probably not going to be able to be on video, but this is a, you're going to need a set of these stepless ear clamp pliers. These are a set from Motion Pro. There's the part number. You can also use these on fuel injection lines on your bikes for those stepless ear clamps on those, but it will work for this as well. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much the reversal of, or excuse me, the installation of that new boot. Something you may want to check out on your TPi bike if it's got any amount of hours on it. Like I said, this one wasn't leaking, but I have found one that has. Make sure you clean the oil screen. And of course, if you're doing a top end on your bike or you've got a ton of hours on your bike, it's probably a good time to change the oil pump. And if you're going to take the oil pump off and you've never changed the boot, I would recommend spending a couple extra bucks to do it. Might save you a leak or maybe a failure down the road. So I hope this video helps. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.